do my normal joke. All right, is Rachel and Jonas from the same cohort, are you? So we're recording now, Jonas. If you want to share your screen, that'd be great.
Yay. So basically now for the ones who are listening, either live or afterwards, we just do this ad hoc here to spread ideas about how we can work with distance learning during the COVID crisis. And people who know me, they know that I'm quite passionate about Google Workbench. It's a tool that's been adopted very early, so it's still mostly if you're a Google trainer, you have a cohort where you can develop your own materials, and that will soon come to any users in the future. I'm not sure actually when the release date is, but even if you can't create your own content, you can still use the existing content. So I'm now going to see if I have to share my screen. And then when you see it, you just say that you can see it.
Yeah, we can see that fine.
Yeah. So basically here you can see that eduworkbencheducation.com, and it says hi up here that Workbench has joined Google. And as soon as I saw that one, I spoke to the people behind it, and they said that it's quite a lot of work because Google have quite a high standard of how the integrations should work. But basically, when you come to this welcome page, you will see that here you see a lot of different lessons and videos and shared resources and all of this. But the things that really gets me very, very interested in this, it is when you, as I said, for me, before we started this recording, I said you have to be invited member to create a material. So in this content, when I create materials, I can use English material and translate it to my local language, because most the content we find on internet is actually in English. And the problem for Swedish students is that if they're younger, they struggle with following the instruction if it's not in the local language. So that's one of the reasons I've been joining this. And the one I'm showing you now is from Google Science Journal. That's called a wind spinner, and similar spelling in Sweden here, but basically it is using an Arduino 101, and then you are building a wind spinner, and then I think there's a picture of it in the very end. It wasn't this here, is one of the images showing that it's basically a light sensor, and each one, this little hole past that one, becomes a little peak. And then they can develop how much energy, theoretically, wind power station should generate. But see if I can do this live. As I said, this was just a quick one, but you see here you have the function that's called assign to classroom. And at the moment I have a lot of different accounts logging in here, but see if I can shift it to this classroom. Oh, no, not one. I have to close it down and we try it again. While I do this, do everyone get the idea? Lesson plans, you build them as steps basically. And see, it doesn't want to work there either. Then I shoot it into my Google Classroom. The one I also wanted to show, see if I got it here, my content. I made a copy of this one. And as I say, it's all now automatically translated to Swedish. But you can see that some of these translations, if I think it was, oh, it's quite okay now. See if I can change it back to English for you to see it. But I think there is functions to do that also, but I've set mine to Swedish. And this was the one we were very quickly saying that this is using Google time-lapse to see about where the glaciers in the polar caps are melting. So if I open it in a new one, it should come up in the normal. Here you have the original one, and I can post the links on further on later on. And in the Earth engine, I think it is here we got the time lapse. And now for you who haven't seen it, it's basically now, I know other people now in this call are very skilled within these tools. Something I did do, but not in the time lapse, was they had a ruler and measured to estimate some sort of an area. Have any of you tried that one?
I've not tried it on these time lapse, Jonas,
No.
but I've tried it on Google Maps. I've got shown schools, measuring the surface area of their school playground, or comparing country sizes by moving up and down the projection that they can see, which is a really neat little thing. Yeah, that's a great idea to give them a sense of the volume of lost ice. Would be quite a good activity, wouldn't it? It'd be great.
Yeah, and you can see the whole idea here. Here we got global forest coverage change. So it's the time lapse can do different ones. And I actually applied and got approved to be one of the developers behind Google Earth Engine. And you basically get a bit of login to their interface. And my task now, I don't know when I finish it, but it is I'm going to we have a lot of population curves about wolves in Sweden. So they have been nearly extinct, and now they are getting back. So I'm going to put in some population curves, and we also got map whatever spread during the years, and see if I can create some sort of a time lapse out of wolf population in Sweden. But again, see if I can get a bit more clear for you about Workbench, and see if I can just, as I said, any questions, just pop in. Yes, this is what I like actually, because I did here, when you choose lessons, you can here choose software. And as you see here, you have different variations, but I wanted to see if I can find science here. It's not there, because when I create my own resource, I can work on it here. Show you how it looks like. So as I said here, I've got the one that just copied, but if I go into edit lesson, you see how it's into steps, it's into descriptions. I use taglines, and here when I add products, you can, to make it easier to find, you have Science Journal as one of these ones. So I'm a bit surprised that it didn't turn up in the search, but it could be, again, that I haven't really looked into it that clearly. And you can also see here how it's linked to different hardware. And I think it makes really good for the STEM education, or STEAM as it's called now, science, technology, arts, maths. So let's cancel that. And last try and see if I can shoot out this lesson. I'm saving that one. There's also a way of canceling it, which I should probably have did. Preview. And now I want to do, again, go to my content. And we're going to see if I can do this one again. Classroom. Is it behaving now? No, it doesn't, but I have to then here. I say, well, I'm doing this one. Just ask any question. You follow the concept?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, lots and lots of potential, isn't there, Jonas? I think in terms of both teacher-directed learning and self-directed learning, and the facility to be able to write lesson plans that can fulfill both kind of delivery methods is really, really helpful, I think. and some amazing resources in there, and loads and loads of resources. I was one of the people that was invited to do some of the reviewing of it early on, just to kind of help set a kind of a more common framework for all teachers, so you could see what you were going. I think there's been some substantial improvements. There was loads of great resources, but there wasn't a common kind of layout for them. So I think that accessing them now is much easier for teachers to see what they've got and how they might use it, I think.
Yeah. So now I managed to log in into my, it's basically as a trainer, I have a test account, and let's do this one. So I have now just clicked on this little button. It comes up and say, which classroom do you want to share it with? And I then say, okay, I'll do it with this classroom. And then you can see here that all the parts of an assignment in Google Classroom comes up. So I can then change the instructions or adapt it, and especially I can do deadlines and things adapted to it. And then I say sent, and then it says now it's been added to your class. And I go to Classroom. And let's see, under assignments. As I said, for people who don't speak Swedish, it looks a bit different, but you still will recognize yourself. And here you see that's the one that I just did. This is published right now. And when I go into this one, you can see show assignment. And then I can, obviously as always, see if any of the students have handed it in. And when the students click on this one, they automatically are taken to this repository, we could probably call it. And as you say here, now I'm still, it looks similar to as it does as a student. You see mark as complete, and then it says start lesson. So that's now it might be looking more like a student level. There, now I can see completed, and you see here the taskbar is moving it forward. And complete, go all the way just to check, and I think there should be, yeah, here. You see it's still 80%, and the point is, in order to complete this lesson, you have to document your wind spinner in this case. And normally I would probably add a bit more information about what type of the document, and like if it's going to be a picture, and you can also include a link, the link where you end it with a copy in the end. So it's a document and you say copy. So when the students click on the link, they get their own copy of the worksheet. So that's a good practice to do, because then you can basically, in the pre-made copy, write basically what you want. Here is a report without name. You can just check what it is. Continue working. So now it says it has uploaded it, and it says don't forget to share this one with your teacher if you haven't set the right sharing content. But as you know, if it's in your own organization, that shouldn't be an issue. And when this one is done, you go back to Google Classroom, and then you say, I'm logged in as a teacher now, but student would say hand in for assignment. Any more questions, or at least I got to show you the full work of it.
Jonas, can I ask, is it possible to sort by the language in Workbench? Because when I've just gone in to explore some of the lessons, a lot of them are coming up in different languages. Yeah,
I was told that the English ones are being translated to your local language. But I think it was said then that if I post one that is Swedish, or as you say, Spanish, or all of those things, I don't think it, surely it should detect. I think it's only a normal translator sitting in the background. But what also has happened is that a lot of countries have requested that in this search, you should be able to search by language.
Yeah.
And I don't think they added that one yet. Let's see if there's anything here you got. Yeah, this is also very interesting, because it's not something I use because we don't really have the same one. But as I follow from the US, they have, you can link them to certain standards. So if you as a teacher know that, okay, this lesson we are going to work with this standard in biology. I think I tried to do that with my own one. Let's see if I put in any standard on this one. Yeah, here it is, EDU standard. And then it was like science grade 7, and then it says understand the importance of clear and accurate records in science. And this one, as I said, I was just finding one that I like, but it's not the one we use, but it's still very similar to what we do. Group discussion about science issue, and here analyze how scientific knowledge is developed. So I mean, all of these ones, if you know that's what you're going to work with, and you might sit in a distance lesson, have your students working from home, you can then sort the resources. And I think it was Paul whoever talked before that when it started, it was quite empty with resources, but they're building them really quickly. So I must say, each time I go in, I see new ones. But a great question.
Yeah, there's lots more resources now in there, and one of the drop-down options there was key stages, which of course is a UK curriculum, as most people seem to be.
Question from me.
Yeah.
Do you know how good the integration is now between Google and Workbench? Because now I haven't used it since it was January time, the last time I tried to use it, and I ran into just huge issues with the fact that I'd assigned through Google Classroom, and when the students press that link there, which takes them back to Workbench.
Yeah,
they were needing to sign up for Workbench accounts.
Yeah,
because it wasn't signing them in. And then even when they'd signed up, because my lesson was only being shared we'd done a domain share, so users from the same domain should have been able to see the lesson. It didn't seem to be picking that up at all properly. So effectively, I had a lesson where some students could access it and some students couldn't access it, and then they would refresh a few times, and it just didn't really gel very well at that time. I don't know if it's improved since.
No, I agree with it. At the moment, if you do your own lesson, as you say, you can share it with this. Are you part of the cohort for trainers?
Right, so I am a trainer, but the person I was working with the school, and obviously the person who made the lesson wasn't part of the cohort for trainers.
Yeah, because this is the difference is that when you are so far, only trainers have been selected to test this new product. Then you can make it public, and exactly like you said, when it's public, I not had that problem.
Yeah, but they don't want to make this because it's an individual school. They don't want to make their lessons public.
Yeah.
They just want their students to do the project-based lesson that they've created for internal use, and that was the bit that they wanted to leave it locked down. But Workbench really didn't seem to play very nicely with that idea at all. And in the end, we had to go and paste all the information to a Google Doc and not be able to use Workbench. I just didn't know whether they'd improved it since that point.
Yeah, no, and I agree. I can stop that one. It's basically what you said, to share it privately. That's one of the benefits, because as you say, you can keep it there and you can